what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing in the school. It is a rap. It's a funny rap, and anybody who knows the teachers that were involved, that makes it even funnier. The kids are. It's been shown to all of the students in the school. It was shown during 1 hour. They kind of all decided when they were going to show it. All the students have seen it. The students that have participated in it, it's improved their behaviors in the school. You know, it kind of gives them a common frame of reference to talk to. The scene that you're talking about, Mr. McLaughlin, the part that's funny about that, and I think this is what the kids are getting, and maybe we as adults don't get it. I have a 13-year-old at home, so of course I've seen the YouTube video. It's a hysterically funny video that references that, and I do, you know, I respect the fact that we don't want to send a message out that this is what we're about. But the bottom line is that PBIS video is for the kids, and it's for the kids to find a connection to how they should be behaving in school.
Right. Well, and I agree with you, but that's something we can use on our internal systems. We don't need to post it on YouTube. That's my.
I'm not sure how it came to life on YouTube. In all honesty,
you know,
we don't have a YouTube. We don't have a YouTube account. I don't know if it's something that the one of the students probably put. Yeah.
You know, and again, you know, we're trying to get these students to respect staff, and referring to an administrator as K-POW, I'm not so sure I'm in agreement with that. Our students are too familiar with our staff as it is. There's no, when we went to school, which everybody at this table was not that long ago, smile, we dealt with Mr. Smith, Mrs. Smith, not Karen, Cheryl. This is insane. And referring to people as K-Pow and Lady P, again, I get the concept, but in an era where public relations is getting more and more important, and we're trying to attract people to our schools, is this really the message we want out there on the internet?
I guess because I saw the same video and, you know, sat down and watched it with my daughter, and I do know exactly the scene that you were talking about, but after explanation, I was like, oh, I get it now, because it's amongst the kids. The students knew exactly what it was, and to them, it's hilarious.
Well, my kids knew what it was too, and you know what their response was? Thank God we already graduated.
So I don't know. For me, it wasn't that huge of an issue. Whether it was ghetto, I mean, that's the kids' culture, and to take that creativity option from them on expressing themselves through a video, to me, squashing their freedom of speech, if you ask me. But that.
What's the video called so we can see it?
Right.
If you go onto Romulus website, go to Romulus High School, pick schools, go to Romulus High School. It's on the main page, and you can watch it right there on our website.
Tom, are you going to bring up the rec?
The rec part? Mm-hmm. I've talked to Mr. Weiss on that, but he's still getting me some information on that stuff.
Because that was the last thing I was going to bring up, Madam Chair, is I'm deeply concerned about what happened at the recreation basketball program. That program should be housed at the RAC in the first place. The only reason it's not is they don't want to deal with the crowds. They don't want to deal with the exact issue that we had to deal with. Unless the Romulus Rec Department and its participants are going to pay for the additional security that's going to be necessary, I'm hard pressed on this. We've had the rec department that was doing the volleyball that ended up getting terminated, and then one of our employees decided that was a money-making opportunity and ran that against policy. And now we've got the basketball program that's again, I don't know that that's what we want to be bringing into our schools. And that's all I'll say. I would just hope that Mr. Cooter gets the information he asked for.
Yeah. Also, too, in regards to that actual program, the rec has nothing to do with that program. That is sponsored by one of our teachers here, Mr. Oates, and it is a feeder into our basketball over at the middle school and the high school. So So it's not associated with the rec or the rack at all any longer.
What are the age groups of the people that are involved in this program?
Do you know that right off? It's like middle
Goes
school.
up through middle school.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
elementary.
elementary to middle school.
Yeah.
And that was one isolated incident that occurred at that particular program, first time that something like that has happened.
I did have someone ask me about the mother-son Valentine dance, because it does refer to the Romulus Community Schools. And I said, at one time, they did hold them in our gym, and maybe this is still in their print, but I know that none of your taxpayer dollars are sponsoring this dance. If it's anything, it would be activity fund money. But I think that we should make it clear to the taxpayers, so they know that even though the article reads, special thanks to City of Romulus, the Romulus Community Schools, and numerous sponsors and volunteers, that it was not taxpayer dollars that went into that.
And that's being held at the middle school.
Right.
Yeah.
It's being, no, it says it's being held at the rec center.
Yeah, the mother-son dance was at the community school, at the high school.
Right, and I thought that that's probably why, because they use the same thing.
The daddy-daughter was at the high school, the mother-son is at the rec center.
Right.
That's all I had, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
got one
Mr.
thing.
Thede?
I like to support what Ms. Williams said about the some of the handouts that we get. Like some of the ones we got with the FTE loss and the projected budget, we're already talking about it. So it probably wouldn't hurt to make a stack and set them on a table when the people come in, because I agree with her with the spring chicken. I can't really see the PowerPoint from where I'm at a lot of times, and if I didn't have the handouts either, I couldn't actually probably see half the stuff that's going on up there because of the lights and it's so blurry. But some of the stuff we're talking about anyway, so it's kind of hard to fan them out there trying to pay attention to what we're talking about, and it's common knowledge that we're talking about it. So maybe make an extra few copies on some of this other stuff that they can actually, see what we're talking about when we see the graph or something like that. They can understand what we're talking about on some of this stuff. So wouldn't hurt to make a few extra copies. Not a whole big stack. I mean, like maybe 6 or 7.
Right. And I think also too, one of the things is having the packet available before our meetings was another concern about just being able to have the information. The information for the presentations, everybody got it all at the same time. So, but being able to have that packet minus the confidential documents so that the community could see those.
Like that, even
was
if you get it
also-
when you walk in the door,
Right.
10 to 6,
Yeah.
you still got 10 minutes to look it over, and you can read along with us while we're talking about it. Makes it a lot clearer than trying to take notes for them.
And to chime in to that, when we got our email with the agenda on it Friday, I would have appreciated getting the PowerPoint presentation and things then, so I could at least start looking at it and formulate questions instead of sitting here like a firing squad, firing off questions.
Some of those documents weren't finished, that's why Sherry and I our paths didn't cross enough last week to get that all buttoned down, that's why.
But we have other opportunities to talk about it. It's not just we got all the information today and we have to make a move on it. So I think that's another reason why the documents, that we got them in the time frame that we got them in. So I guess I would encourage you, don't lose them, because you're going to need them again.
And in some
Go ahead, Sherry, I'm sorry.
just in some cases, for example, the presentation, we wanted to share that with the board for, input.
Right.
So to provide it to the public first, it's almost putting the cart before the horse.
Right,
because
and that's why I said
there are
they got it.
modifications that we are going to make to it.
Yeah, you suggested some changes, we wouldn't want to have copies circulating to the
Right.
public that were not what the board stood behind.
Different voice.
Well, some of the simple handouts,
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, from a management point, I think it's very reasonable for us to have extra copies at the board meeting. Getting them out and available to the public before a board meeting makes me very nervous.
just when you come through the door, it'd be nice to have them, to follow along.
So I guess just so that we can all make sure that we're clear and on the same page, I think we need to kind of discuss the timeliness on, so what does that look like? Is that the day of the meeting? Is that Friday? before the meeting. So what exactly are we talking about as far as making these documents accessible to the general public? I know of some boards that actually publish their packets on their website before their meetings. And so I guess for me, I would prefer that as much information as we can get our community, the better, because we throw this word transparency out, and, you know, I just want to make sure, because what begins to happen is people, you know, it's just what you perceive. That's their reality. And so I just want to be able to make sure that we are as upfront as we possibly can be with the paperwork that we get, so that everybody is on the same page. We're not trying to hide anything. There's nothing to hide. I mean, we're all in this together. So I just think we need to kind of make sure that we leave with an understanding of when those particular documents are going to be made available for the general public to see. So are we talking about the day of morning, or will they be available when we get our packets? Will they also be made available for the general public to tap into if they'd like to come and get them? Now, with us, that's a little bit different. I'm not exactly sure how the city does it, but for us, that's a pretty steep expense. And I know sometimes, especially like when our residents, if they do a FOIA, they pay for those particular packets. And so,
not a board packet. It shouldn't be a board packet. You shouldn't have to pay for that. That should be available to the public. You can pay for it, but not for it. I'm sorry. The city charge for the council packet, the first part section is, you get one free, and then every other sheet you pay 5 cents.
gotcha.
But you don't have to for it. That's public information.
Right, that's what,
You usually get it after the meeting, don't you?
Right.
No,
Virginia?
no, no. You get
I mean-
it before. What's the purpose after?
Well, I mean, some of the stuff they give after what they discuss, though.
Well, they, you know, to those that didn't ask for it before, see, this is something that, I'm sorry, this is something that the city and the school have to come up to date. You say you're being transparent, you know, bring it forth. I mean, if you have nothing now, put it out there. I think the least expense way would be put it on the website.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so,
Because to come here, as I did tonight, and hear you guys, you know, reading, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I hear it, but not being able to see it and follow along, that's a whole different ballgame.
right,
So to put it on the website would be the least.
yep, so board members, website,
Website sounds good.
Yep.
because I know that
mean,
we post our agenda.
If you print off 10 of them and nobody shows up, and you got 10 of them, if they want them, they can print them off at home, but at least we're giving it to them.
Yeah,
I wholeheartedly agree. It's something I've advocated for a long time, is the entire agenda packet should be available for public review. Except, as
The
Ms. Williams pointed
confidential.
out, anything that's confidential in
Legally
nature,
binding,
you know,
yeah.
obviously it's protected by disclosure in the first place.
Right.
But general information, again, an informed community is a supportive community.
Yes.
I'd rather bury people with details than keep them in the dark.
right.
When do you want it available? Is the day of the meeting sathfactory?
Well, I would
I
say
would
when
do
we
it-
get our
I would
packets
say
on
when we
Friday,
got
they
ours,
should be
that
up
it
on
should
the
be up,
site.
yeah.
Okay.
They're emailed to us, it seemed like, I don't know how difficult that would be, but,
Right,
That's because we didn't have direction, we had confusion.
okay.
all
So,
right, now we got direction then.
yeah, so everybody, all minds and hearts clear?
Okay. You,
All right,
you got
well,
anything? Hold on, let's look at it. I got a
oh,
question.
okay, go ahead.
A couple questions now. Could you please, Mr. Weiss, clarify this whole issue at the basketball thing? Because the emails I've been getting is referring to as rec, and Ms. Funderburg's saying it's sponsored by a school employee. So could you please clarify what that is in an email to everybody on the board? If it's a recreational, or is it Mr. Oates' fundraising campaign?
It's our recreation program, it's a fundraiser
So
for
it's
the
a
sports
school's
program.
recreation program.
We call it recreation because we consider it
Okay, we gotta watch
recreation
using that
program.
term because there are a lot of people in the community, so
That's getting confused.
it's getting confusing, that's why. I just want clarification.
City
on-
and school.
Right. Okay. Did you get that other information that I emailed you requesting the list of individuals and addresses?
Individuals and addresses.
I emailed you on Friday with 5 different things, and you responded I'll forward you the email again if you'd
I
like.
have it, I'll have to go
Okay.
look, I don't remember what you're asking.
It was about 10:30 I sent it to you.
Oh, AM or PM?
AM.
Okay.